KT Wrestling Podcast coming to you February 27th of 2021. Late night Saturday night. I'm your host, Ernest Christian, coming to you alongside Bike Rainier, Joe Lopez. Fellas, what's up? What's up? What's up?
Did you just say what's up like 4 times just to sound annoying?
Yeah, it's late. I'm tired.
It's early.
Just stay awake. It's early. Mike actually is coming to us live from Disney World. Which, by the way, happy anniversary. You filthy animal.
Appreciate it.
Joseph.
What's up?
What's up? You awake?
I'm as awake as I'm getting.
Oh Lord.
I was gonna say, Joe, when Joe talks in that tone of voice, Joe isn't getting more awake.
No, you're on the clock. Like, you might want to start bringing up the things that you actually care about hearing me comment on while I'm awake.
Yeah, that's true. Now, well, I'm really excited for this show today. A couple of topics to get into. We're going to talk about the APA versus Doom, and also we're going to discuss wrestling. And by the way, I stole this topic from Mike because again he swerved me for 2 weeks in a row. So I said, "Fuck it, I'm taking it." What wrestling podcasts would we like to listen to in the future? Obviously you have the Kurt Angle podcast just dropped recently, you know that. We'll get to that in a second. But first, we're going to spend the next probably 30 minutes shitting on some awards from the Wrestling Observer. Mike swerved again to bring this topic up, Mike. So explain to us what exactly you want to present here.
Swerve! Yeah. So, earlier this week, these were voted on by Observer subscribers. Not actually decided by Dave Meltzer himself, because if this was, then this would be the first annual shit on Dave Meltzer portion of the show. But we can't actually give Dave too much crap for this one, but we can give his marks some crap. As they decided to vote on different awards, they had different categories. The Category A awards, which included the Lou Thez Ric Flair Award, which was Wrestler of the Year. They also had Most Outstanding Wrestler, Tag Team, Interviews, Promotion, Weekly TV Show, Match, and then they had some B categories. We'll start with the fun ones. We'll start with the Wrestler of the Year. Their number one Wrestler of the Year was the guy who held the AEW title for like 200 days, John. No, I'm not going to hold it like Justin Roberts, Moxley. Number 2 was Kenny Omega. Number 3 was Tetsuya Naito. 4 was Kota Ibushi. 5 was Drew McIntyre. 6 was Bayley. 7, Go Shiozaki. 8, Roman Reigns. Number 9 was Mayu Iwatani. And number 10 was Le Champion, Chris Jericho.
You know what stood out for me in this list right here automatically? Is that I'm just glad they gave Bayley love. Well, no. I mean, I can't speak on some of the guys I don't know from New Japan and beyond. I'm just glad Bayley got some love.
I would say that she was probably the second best act WWE had during the pandemic.
She was definitely up there, yeah.
We did our awards for this podcast in January. Bayley ranked pretty high on our list.
Yeah, I mean, she was probably one of the most over acts in the entire company. And the only one that I think could give her a run for the money is the guy who finished in 5th, which was Drew McIntyre.
I agree.
I don't understand how you don't have a guy who is literally the world champion of the top company in the world higher ranked than number 5.
I totally agree.
Yeah, he was the champion for like almost the whole year.
Yeah, I agree with Joe. And
I mean,
you're talking to a guy who's a big Kota Ibushi fan. Kota should not be ahead of Drew McIntyre.
Right.
You could argue Tetsuya Naito because, double gold dash and all that stuff. But even him, I don't know if I necessarily would have ahead of Drew because New Japan was shut down there for a couple months while WWE pretty much kept it going. You're going to have your AEW fans that are going to argue for Mox and for Omega. But let's not forget the first half of 2020, Kenny Omega was an AEW tag champion.
Right. Totally agree.
Yeah, they didn't have a ton of singles matches like we've discussed before in the past. And to be honest with you, Jon Moxley's AEW World Title run was about as eventful as Randy Orton's 2-week run as WWE Champion that broke up Drew McIntyre's run from WrestleMania until Elimination Chamber.
Could we argue, and I think we probably agreed that Moxley probably is ranked a little too high, but could we argue that a lot of it had to do with COVID too? Like,
No.
Okay.
I don't think you can argue with Moxley and COVID because I think they went with what they were going to go with no matter what.
Yeah, and I also think that at the end of the day, the people who voted on this were going to vote for the AEW heavyweight champion for most of the year at number 1, no matter what.
Yeah, you could have said that it was Orange Cassidy, it was Marco Stunt, it was Luchasaurus. It didn't matter. They were going to vote for it because it was AEW.
Right, exactly. Like that's the thing you have to understand, and I feel like the thing that gets lost a lot in the online conversations that people have about these things is, and this is the whole thing that we were saying earlier, where it's like, okay, you can't shit on Meltzer for this. I know how popular that is of a thing on the internet. I don't 100% get it, but it is what it is.
I think he likes it, honestly. I think he likes it because he gets the rub. It's still a rub.
Sure. To me, it's stupid because people seem to both give him this like authority that is based around solely opinion, and you give him this level of authority that you don't need to give him, but then you get mad that he has the level of authority that you've given him. So I'll never quite understand that. I mean, it's like if you read A.O. Scott's movie reviews and then you get pissed off because you think that every movie he likes is shit,
So read it, right?
That's exactly all it is. Like, Dave Meltzer is just sharing his opinion, and, he has his likes, and as we all do. But at the end of the day, his readers are the ones voting on this, and it's a very small group of people. I mean, it's like 300 people, I think, most of these things, like, that's what the vote works out to. So we're not talking about, like, thousands of people or anything. Like I said, like, when we first sample. When you first brought this up earlier, it reminded me of, like, the Golden Globes. Because, not for nothing, but the Golden Globes are usually shit. The nominations, the winners, all of it's usually complete and utter bullshit. But it's also only voted on by 98 people. Right. So I'm not surprised that it tends to be bullshit.
And probably 98 morons.
Exactly. It's 98 people who all really like the iPads that they got from Harvey Weinstein.
Wow. So let me tell you real quick what stood out for me from this rest of your list here. I mean, obviously I think Moxie's a little too high, or Omega's too high we just discussed that. I love that Bailey's on there. Drew McIntyre should be higher. I can't speak on Naito and Shizaki, those guys, because I don't watch the material. Obviously, they're good at what they do, but I don't know much about what they do in their work. But please explain to me one question: why the fuck is Chris Jericho on this list?
I mean, to be honest with you, he didn't have a terrible year.
Not top 10 worthy though.
Honestly, wait, it really depends on, and this is one of those things where all of this is subjective, and it really depends on what you're looking at. Like, look, if you want to be one of those people, push your glasses up and grab your pencil and write down all the stats, and you make your votes about who the best wrestler of the year was based on how many wins they have or how many losses they have and yada yada, Jericho doesn't belong in that conversation last year. I don't think he won a single match on pay-per-view last year. I'm pretty sure he lost at all 4, and I don't think he won anything that...
Chris Jericho lost the title in February last year to Moxley at Revolution, okay? So, and after that, he was pretty much, you could argue, mid-card status.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, and when he was, actually wrestling, for the most part, especially in singles matches, he was putting guys over. Jericho's, it's funny, right? Because Jericho's doing exactly what Jericho should be doing at this point in his career. But that doesn't necessarily translate to, if you're looking at it from a sports perspective and you're trying to take it seriously or, whatever, that doesn't translate to him making the top 10 then, because his win-loss record sucks. But then, you know what? Look, at the end of the day, Mike sent me this meme, or he just quoted me this stat, but either way, I think he just quoted me the stat. if you look at The Miz, what was that stat you said, Mike? It was that
The Miz has won 3 singles matches since, like, what was it, like WrestleMania of 2020. And it was like a random Raw against like Kofi Kingston, the Money in the Bank briefcase match from Otis, and then the Money in the Bank cash-in.
I mean, like I'd rather see someone like Asuka on this list as opposed to Chris Jericho. And again, this is not a knock on Jericho, but again, we're talking top 10. You could have found any other WWE guy on this list.
Okay,
no, it's funny.
Here's the official tweet.
Okay.
Between January 1st of 2020 until the cash-in at Elimination Chamber, Miz won against Kofi on the 10th of January, which I'm guessing is either a Raw or a SmackDown, the briefcase match against Otis, and then the title match against Drew, were his only 3 singles victories. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, his only 3 singles wins.
And now he's the world champion.
Yeah. For now.
So, I mean, like, that's the thing. At the end of the day, like, it's all subjective. Like, how do you rank this stuff? If you were ranking pro wrestling in 2021 so far, Wrestlers of the Year, Miz probably belongs high on that list, even though he's apparently won a grand total of, like, 1 match, which happened to be the match for the title. Like, you know what? If at the end of the day, if you were injured all season and then you come back and somehow you're the quarterback in the Super Bowl and you win it, guess what? You won the fucking right one time.
Yeah. Yeah, Go Shiozaki was the Pro Wrestling Noah GHC heavyweight champion for a total of 405 days. He just lost it to Kenji Muto earlier this month.
Should be higher then.
You're not going to get a disagreement from me there.
Like
I said, Kota being at 4, and I love Kota Ibushi, but I don't know that he should have been number 4 on this list right now. If you tell me this is the 2021 awards and you want to put Kota Ibushi up in that conversation, that we can have that conversation, because he's currently the IWGP heavyweight champion and stuff like that. Like you maybe could get me for 2021, but I don't think 2020.
By the way, Romans is perfect where he's at because his placing's all based on SummerSlam through the end of the year.
Well, yeah.
I think really it's that his placing is based on people voting who aren't big fans of WWE and obviously aren't big fans of Roman Reigns.
As reflected in the rest of this list.
I mean, as reflective of the fact that Drew McIntyre held the title basically the entire summer and pretty much was the bright spot of WWE for the entire pandemic, and he's 5th on this list.
I just want to say one thing from what we were just talking about with Jericho, because it came up in my head. One thing that I would love to see on some of these like awards, and like maybe it's something we can even do ourselves when we do our year-end stuff. Mm-hmm. It'd be kind of interesting to see a category that's like basically like best supporting wrestler. Because like Jericho, that's what he is right now.
Yes,
correct. He's a supporting
he got Orange Cassidy over. He got Orange Cassidy over. He's helping get MJF over.
Right.
He's eventually going to help Santana and Ortiz get over whenever they feud with them.
Exactly. Like there's nobody, I think, in pro wrestling right now who's being more of a supporting character in a way that actually like does something for the people that he's supporting than Jericho.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Right. Maybe that's the reward here then. Maybe that's why he's top 10, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. The next category is Most Outstanding Wrestler. At number 1, the winner of this one was the cleaner Kenny Omega. Number 2 was Kota Ibushi. Number 3 was Shingo Takagi. 4th was Tomohiro Ishii. 5 was Will Ospreay. 6 was Minoru Suzuki. 7 was Kazuchika Okada. 8 was Hiromu Takahashi. 9 was Go Shiozaki, and number 10 was Rey Fenix. Let's just rename this the New Japan Pro Wrestling Award mixed with Kenny Omega and Rey Fenix.
I was just about to be like, congratulations, Ernest. 2 of those people.
Yeah.
I
know Will Ospreay. I know Will Ospreay.
But honestly, the funny thing is, the 2 that he knows, the one that's 10th is in the right spot, and the guy who's in 1 should probably be like 5th.
Yeah.
So
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
I will say this. And like I said, again, you have to take all this stuff from the perspective of it's the opinions of 300 people collectively. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is clearly 300 people, and I'm not surprised by this because they are, people who receive the Wrestling Observer. Some of them probably still receive it in their mailboxes. Some of them digitally. I don't know. But, these are people who are obviously big fans of Japanese pro wrestling. Because if there's one thing that Dave is always masturbated in the corner over, it's Japanese pro wrestling. So, am I shocked that these 300 people are huge New Japan fans? No. And then am I shocked then that they're turning around and saying that the New Japan wrestlers are some of the best wrestlers in the world? No. Because honestly, the New Japan wrestlers are some of the best wrestlers in the world. If anyone who actually takes the time to sit down and watch New Japan, the one thing that you'll say is, wow, they've got some of the best wrestlers in the world.
Agreed.
So I'm not surprised by this given the audience of people voting on it. At the end of the day, I would vote for half the New Japan roster before I'd vote for half the Raw roster also.
Mm-hmm. So let me say something real quick. So I have zero problem with Omega being number one. Now, this is just based on my exposure to what I've seen. Kenny Omega, to me, has been the most, even in the random solo matches he did before they broke up, him and Paige broke up in August of last year. Kenny Omega was by far the one wrestler I was most invested into watching match for match every week on Dynamite.
It's the hair, right?
So I won't disagree with
the blonde hair.
It's the sweeper girls.
It's the sweeper girl.
No, but the dude's fucking phenomenal in the ring.
Oh,
he's phenomenal.
He is, and he has been.
Yeah, the worst,
and honestly,
the worst thing they could do is keep putting a microphone in front of his face.
Yo, for real.
He's cutting real shit promos right now.
Mm.
His promos are hot trash right now. And this Don Callis thing, garbage.
Because the problem is, okay, you know how we've talked about how, Triple H tried to be, the chicken shit heel when he really should have just been, the badass, I kick your ass heel?
Yes.
There are different kind of heels in pro wrestling. I know I'm explaining something that everybody knows, okay? But, you have your chicken shit heels, you have your I'm a badass heel, and then you have Kenny Omega who's trying to play the bad guy in an anime heel. And that really just doesn't work very well because you're not a fucking cartoon character.
Yeah, I agree with that. The wrestler that I would have had at number one is actually the number 3 entry on this list, and that's Shingo Takagi. Shingo probably had some of the best matches that New Japan has seen in the 2020 calendar year. His never open weight title matches, including one with Minoru Suzuki, is probably one of the most fun matches that I've seen in quite some time. So I probably would have had Shingo at 1. I probably would have left Kota at 2. And then I probably would have went Kenny 3 and then Ospreay 4. I like Tomohiro Ishii. His style is one thing, and it's let me get the shit kicked out of me and no sell everything.
Yeah, you know that Ishii is one of my favorite wrestlers on this planet.
Yes.
The fact that New Japan never seems to give him a decent push, and I know he was in, the co-main event on today's show. I haven't watched it yet, but I know he was in there with Jay White, and that's awesome. But, where was your fucking match on either of the 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom, That annoys me.
They needed an extra body in the Who Gives a Shit Over the Top Rope Battle Royal.
Yeah, no, seriously. But I think, that annoys me. I like Ishii so much that I get annoyed by his lack of a push, which I don't actually, it's funny because sometimes sometimes I never quite understand when WWE fans get annoyed because it's like, oh my God, where's Drew Gulak? I'm like, I love Drew Gulak, but I also don't spend that much time being like, oh, where's Drew Gulak?
Gulak?
But then someone like Ishii, I'm sitting here being like, yo, but where the fuck's my Ishii?
I don't blame you.
I'll take the number 5.
I just realized there's a lot of categories here.
Yeah. Some of these will rip through though. We're not going to go over best Canadian whatever.
Yeah.
We're not going to go over best because there's 3 people on the list that we'll all know combined, and 2 of them are Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Tag team of the year. Number 1 was the Young Bucks. Number 2 was Kenny Omega and Adam Page. Number 3 was FTR. Number 4 was Dangerous Tekkers, which I believe was the team of Zack Sabre Jr. and
Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bayley and Sasha Banks, the North of Ethan Page and Josh Alexander. Best friends, Chucky T and Trent. The Lucha Brothers at 8. Fuck that noise. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi at 9. And then a tie for 10th between Pride, Powerful, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves now, Santana and Ortiz. And then the tag team of Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly.
And right there is how you know AEW marks. Because, and we all agree on this podcast that Santana and Ortiz have been underutilized since AEW's inception.
Oh,
and
yeah,
yet they somehow
100%.
make it to the top 10 of fucking top tag teams. Give me a fucking break, dude. Stop.
Exactly. No, 100%.
That being said, number one, while they annoy the shit out of me, I have no problem with it, honestly.
I don't think they were the number one team last year, but I do think that they're in the conversation, so I'm not like 100% mad at it. I don't know. I don't hate this category, but WWE also doesn't exactly push tag teams, so
That's true.
you know.
That's true.
Like, am I about to sit here and be upset that the Street Profits aren't on the list? No, not really.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, I feel like they should have a spot on the list. I feel like they should have a spot on the list. I feel like
not Santana Ortiz.
Yeah.
I feel like the only brand in WWE where tag teams matter sometimes is NXT, and like they made it on the list. So
yeah, but still, you got to figure the New Day had a pretty good 2020. Street Profits had a pretty good 2020. But we have Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi and the Lucha Bros, who one of them was hurt for like 9 quarters of the fucking year, and the other part of it, the year they couldn't get over back into the U.S.
Yeah. No, I get it. Listen, and Candice Bergen won like fucking 5 awards playing Murphy Brown every year.
It's facts. All right, this one is one that I want to talk about. And
I just want to say, in my head, that made total sense. If it didn't out loud, I apologize.
Real quick, just before we get to the next one, Sasha and Bayley should be a little higher.
No.
You don't think so? A little higher? Okay.
No, because they were a tag team for what, like fucking 3 weeks in 2020?
No, well, one more than that, but
they were broken up.
I would have had them higher.
When? Who would you have taken out? FTR?
No.
Yeah, I would have had them lower.
They're the only team out of the top 4 that I would have had Bayley and Banks ahead of.
Yeah.
I would have kept.
I'll say number 1.
I would have kept Zach and Tai Chi ahead of them. No, but I would have kept Zach and Tai Chi ahead of them.
I think the whole feud in general is amazing, so maybe just the feud, not just the tag team. But okay.
What category is next?
Interviews.
Best on interviews.
This is fun.
Number 1 was Eddie Kingston.
I don't know.
Number 2 was John Moxley. Number 3 was MJF. Number 4 was Cody. Number 5 was Chris Jericho. Number 6 was Taz. 7 was Roman Reigns. 8 was Jay White. Number 9, Pat McAfee. And number 10 was Randy Orton.
Okay.
Why the fuck is Taz on this list?
Because he's from Brooklyn.
He gets a lot of airtime, though.
Just accept it.
It's a lot of airtime, man. Let's be real.
He does cut some good promos. I'm sorry. I'm a Taz promo guy.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, though.
Because he has 3 of the most unfucking cuttable fucking promo guys in the world, and Ricky Starks.
So he's doing his job.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he's not.
Okay, but
nobody takes Team Taz serious.
But that's the booking. That's not on him. But wait. Okay. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Am I crazy, or is John Moxley just kind of mediocre at promos and everyone's kind of like blinded?
The best promo that John Moxley cut all year was the one where he announced where his wife was pregnant.
I just don't get into his character at all. Like that promo he did on Dynamite this past week where it's like every other word he was just kind of stopping and breathing heavily. I'm like, look, this isn't a fucking 900 line. I'm sorry, but if you were trying out to be an actor in a role, I probably wouldn't cast you.
I disagree. I actually like his promos. I do like his promos, actually.
No, it's okay. It's okay to be wrong.
I mean, I wouldn't put him on one of my lists. I probably wouldn't put him in my top 5, to be honest with you. But I like his promos a lot.
Where's Kevin Owens? Because any year that Kevin Owens is in this wrestling business, he belongs on this list.
Yeah. Well, let me say this real quick. I have no problem with the top three, honestly. Although I would probably put Moxley a little lower, but Eddie Kingston number one, no problem with that. MJF, you already know how I feel about MJF. McAfee, Randy Orton. I mean, this is okay. I'm not terribly mad about it. I mean, but
Joe, can we just say for the record, Earnest is okay with Eddie Kingston being the number one person on the best interview list, and he is getting watered down, generic Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, I know.
He ain't getting the War King. He ain't getting the last of a dying breed. He ain't getting raw emotion Eddie Kingston. He's getting fucking AEW pairing him with the Butcher
cable television
Eddie Kingston.
Oh, can I just say too, one of my biggest pet peeves in pro wrestling, I might have said this last week, I don't remember, but one of my biggest pet peeves in pro wrestling is two wrestlers who you've never seen on screen together ever, all of a sudden, who have existed, been in the company for years, both at the same time, all of a sudden have been best friends for 20 years. And you just know that it's going to end with one of them fucking turning on the other.
So it's pretty much every storyline in WWE right now?
Yeah, exactly. It's I'm sorry, but nobody ever acknowledged Drew McIntyre and Sheamus as being friends. And then all of a sudden they were best friends for life. They fucking were fist bumping in the hospital when they were born. And I'm just okay, but come on.
But for the record, I would have the gentleman that's ranked number 7, which is Roman Reigns. I would have him higher on this list because his interviews, especially the tail end of 2020, were better than probably anything you would see on the AEW thing, sans Eddie Kingston.
Again, heel Roman Reigns, man. God.
Oh, and Pat McAfee being on the top 10 list, only being, there for 6 shows total. Pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Promotion of the year. Number 1, AEW. Number 2, New Japan. Number 3, WWE. Number 4 is Stardom. Number 5 is the UFC. Number 6, Pro Wrestling Noah. Number 7 is Impact. Dragon Gate at 8, Ring of Honor at 9, and DDT at 10. No U.S. independent promotions, obviously, with the exception of potentially, I guess you could call Ring of Honor an indie promotion still. They're on cable TV,
no, they're owned by a major company.
Yeah. So
I mean, I can't put really too much stock on this list because in the era of COVID, I mean,
no.
Did I enjoy AEW shows more than WWE's last year? Yeah, I'll give you that. Right now, I'm not. Right now, since January, I've been enjoying WWE much more than AEW. But last year,
I love that for you.
Well, it is what it is. I haven't watched AEW in 3 weeks.
You're not missing anything.
I know that.
Yeah, he is. He's missing, fucking the Sweet Sweeper girls doing fucking dances and Doc Gallows swinging the Impact Tag titles from his dick like it's his dick.
Listen, he doesn't need Dynamite. He's got the Royal Rumble from 2020. He's good.
But the thing is, where I'll defend AEW here on this list, this is 2020 only, is that you have to admit, at least going into COVID, they adjusted pretty well in comparison to WWE. Now, WWE eventually figured it out and doing the Thunderdome and all that. They obviously was able to expand what's close to a WWE show. But, at least the first few months of COVID, AEW adjusted very well, actually.
They adjusted very well because their owner owns a fucking amphitheater at a fucking football stadium that's all outdoors. If Vince McMahon owned something like that, they would have adjusted pretty fucking quickly too.
You own a performance center.
Yeah, and that's where they went.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a 15,000 outdoor amphitheater attached to a fucking multi-million-dollar football stadium either.
Right, exactly. AEW has been able to pull off some cool things because they've had some advantages, which I think is awesome. Don't get me wrong. Look, I would not put them as the best promotion last year, not by a long shot. However, I don't hate it, and again, these are the readers. Like, these are the people, they they know what they subscribe to.
Right.
Look, I think that we can all agree on this. I'm sure you've heard someone say this before. It's a cliche, but it's the truth. None of us want to hear other people's opinions. We want to hear our opinions out of their mouths. It's New Japan versus AEW, and New Japan wasn't around for half the year.
Facts.
Factual?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I personally would have probably still put WWE at number 1. I probably would have put AEW 2 and then New Japan at 3 because New Japan was shut down for a while. And honestly, a dark horse that I probably would have thought could have gotten a couple higher votes. And I know it's gonna be really weird. I'm gonna say this out loud. Is the UFC?
Oh, right.
I don't feel like UFC belongs in these conversations, though. It's not even remotely the same thing.
No. I'm not saying they agree, but if given what was voted on and given what we've been, because Dana did things to keep the UFC.
Dude, he bought an island.
That's what I'm saying. He did his best. That's why I'm thinking like, if you're talking about promotion, like, oh, you have an amphitheater, that's cool. I bought a fucking island.
That alone should put you number 1, honestly. At least top 3.
All right, let's move on to Best Weekly TV Show. Number 1 is AEW Dynamite. Number 2 is NXT. Number 3 is Being the Elite. Number 4 is AEW Dark. Number 5 is SmackDown. Number 6 is New Japan Strong. Number 7 is ROH. Number 8 is Impact. MLW Fusion at 9. And NXT UK at 10.
Okay, so
first
I'm going
to...
Mike, go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Fuck Being the Elite. Get it off of the list. I like Being the Elite. It's not a fucking wrestling show.
Thank you.
And why the fuck is Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. on AEW Dark ahead of anything on Monday Night Raw? Joe, go ahead.
What number was AEW Dark at?
4.
I'm going to say it, okay? I don't think a single one of the 309 people who voted for it at number 4 have actually gotten through an entire episode.
I wouldn't blame you. 17 matches.
No, that shit every week is basically WrestleMania 4. Like, I'm good. Thank you.
It shouldn't even be in the top 10, honestly.
Now, okay, I do wonder one thing. They're going to have this new show on Monday that fucking The Big Show is coming to do the commentary. What is it?
Elevate, I believe.
Elevate,
yeah.
I love that for them. So, here's my thing, though. Does this mean that Dark is going to finally be like a 1-hour program and then like this other show will be a 1-hour program? Or is Dark still going to be a fucking marathon of like local indie pro wrestling that I haven't missed?
I don't know if they released anything, but the way that I would hope that it would go is that you would get basically AEW Dark Elevate, which is like the people trying to make it to Dark to get noticed.
Yeah.
And then I would have like them earn their way to have matches against like the SCUs, the Jurassic Expresses, the Powerhouse Hobbs, the Brian Cages of the world. Basically, I would basically have them like have to earn those matches, and then I would use Dark as like a 1-hour show to have like, oh, here's 6 matches, and it's like the people that won the night before wrestling against fucking guys that are AEW talent. And you build them that way. And then maybe you could have one of them upset somebody like the Lucha Bros or something like that with some like, oh, someone came out and distracted them. Oh, that means they're going to have a match on Dynamite the next day.
Right.
I can't go over the fact that not only is Raw not on this list at all. And look, we can agree that Raw was kind of last year to some degree, but it's still in the top 10. We can agree with that.
The best thing to
but
watch.
You're gonna tell me that Being the Elite and AW Dark was better than Raw? Get the ever living fuck out of my face!
I mean, at least Being the Elite's like only 10 minutes.
Like 15.
But I'm just saying, like, at least, like, if you wanted to give me an excuse and you were like, okay,
to be honest with you, the best part of Being the Elite was all the Dark Order.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, like, if you wanted to give me an argument where it's like, okay, well, Raw's 3 hours, but Being the Elite 15 minutes, that's fine. But then Dark is 3 hours, so that doesn't work.
And Dark is 3 hours of, like, just awful. Like, here's a 16-second squash match.
Yes. No. Every single one. You know how sometimes you see a match and it's like, yo, this could be a main event anywhere in the world? Every match on Dark could be an opener anywhere in the world.
I don't watch Dark, so I couldn't tell you. I don't bother.
I did see that the main event for like this past week's Dark was like a triple threat tag match that had like SCU, damn, I'm trying to remember the other two teams, but it actually sounded like it could have been a fun match to watch. And then I was like, but I'll have to get through either 2 hours of it or watch 17 different ads on YouTube to fast forward to it.
Right.
And then I told myself it wasn't worth it.
No thanks.
You know, because honestly, look, they got to use it for something more interesting. Like, there's got to be some kind of consequences there. Nothing happens of any kind of value on Dark. And, like, yeah, it's cool to see some of these guys you don't get to see wrestle otherwise, but nobody's having a 5-star match on Dark. There were times where that happened. I remember that Kenny Omega Joey Janela match on Dark. That was fantastic. But that's not the realm of Dark that we exist in anymore. Now we're in the realm where it's Serpentico's in action every week, you know? And he's not having 5-star matches. No offense to him. He's not being given an opportunity to because nobody's having a 5-star match on a show where there's 17 matches. That's like on YouTube, you know? Like, it's just not a thing.
You want to know what's been the best part of the AEW Dark the last couple months?
What?
Watching Brody Lee's son come out with the Dark Order and like beating people up with kendo sticks.
Yes.
And standing on the announce table and like celebrating and telling Excalibur to shut up.
Well, because like honestly, and that's something that we all have an emotional investment in for, you know, very sad reasons, but like it's there. Like you care. That is something that you kind of actually want to see. And that's what I'm saying. Like honestly, you know, it almost would be interesting. I'm just spitballing an idea here. But like if they use Dark as some sort of like minor league system, but like literally, like you know how in the UK and like the Premier League, there's like that league below it. There's like that league below it where like the top 3 teams every season
relegation.
Yes.
The top 3 get moved up, the bottom 3 get moved down.
Right, like use Dark like that for like the tag division. You know what I mean? Like fucking have Top Flight on there. I mean, you already have them on there winning like 7 in a row and shit. So then, yeah, it makes sense when they get to be on Dynamite the following week. But now they need to win on Dynamite or they're going back to Dark. Like use it for something like that.
It also doesn't make sense because you look at the standings for their AEW rankings and it's like, oh, Top Flight is 6-1. Where the fuck did they win 6 matches? And you go, oh, that's right, the last 6 weeks on AEW Dark whenever they've been fighting Griff Garrison and fucking Brian Pillman Jr., Luther and Serpentico.
So I'm pretty sure Jurassic Express is like 37-2 right now. Like they've got
one loss to FTR and one loss to like Kenny and Paige.
Yeah, they've got a better record than the Boston Celtics. Like,
ooh, God, ooh, don't do that.
Can we talk about though before we move on?
Oh God.
The SmackDown was a really good show for most of the year. I'm kind of mad that isn't as high. MLW Fusion. I have not watched a single episode of that, so I can't really speak on that. But the Ring of Honor show is number 7.
Well, I can't speak on that, so that's it, you guys.
Is this basically because it's the most different thing out there right now, especially with the Foundation and all the Pure Rules stuff that Ring of Honor is doing?
I think that has a little bit to do with it. I think, again, that goes into audience. You know, with the people who are voting for this, of course, they would be the Ring of Honor fans, you know.
Well, it also feels like with them trying to display more wrestling, it seems like they would fit the New Japan style. There's not a lot of storylines, but they're going out there and having great wrestling matches. And if you have New Japan fans that know of Ring of Honor, they're going to watch Ring of Honor, especially if they hear that Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham are going out there and having 4-star pure wrestling matches with insert random people here like Hot Sauce or Rhett Titus or Wheeler Yuta or whoever the fuck else they've been having matches with. I feel like this is something where that really fits into the niche where, oh, this is the fan base of this team or this location. It makes sense to vote for that.
Exactly. And also, too, most of the people reading this, live in their mom's basements, which implies that they live in the Midwest, where you get Sinclair channel so you can actually watch Ring of Honor.
Oh, that's facts.
Okay, so what's the next category?
All right.
The most hotly contested category that we're going to speak about, Match of the Year. We're going to do this in reverse order. I've been doing everything from 1 to 10. We're going to go from 10 to 1.
Okay.
So we can comment on these matches leading into the big reveal of number 1. At number 10, from the AEW Dynamite Brody Lee Tribute Show, it is Adam Page, Alex Reynolds, John Silver versus MJF, Ortiz, and Santana. At number 9, the Stadium Stampede match, AEW Double or Nothing.
I mean, that was a lot of fun.
That was a car crash. A fun car crash, but a car crash.
Should be a little higher, but this is me.
Of course, Mark Boy.
No. It's a little higher.
Okay, when you hear the next couple matches, of course you're going to say it because you don't know anything about fucking New
Right,
Japan. So
I agree.
Of course you think it should be a little higher.
Yeah,
No, you should open up your fucking horizons. Number 8, Go Shiozaki versus Takashi Shigira, Noah's Final Chronicle. Number 7, Hiromu Takahashi, Will Ospreay, Wrestle Kingdom 14, night number 1. That match is an absolute banger.
Barn burner.
No, that they set the barn on fire, rebuilt it just to blow it the fuck up again. Number 6.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That seems kind of productive.
Number 6, G1 Climax, night number 13, Kota Ibushi versus Minoru Suzuki. Number 5, my match of the year. It is Ilya Dragunov, Walter, NXT UK, October of 2020. Number 4, Wrestle Kingdom 14, night number 2, the finals of Double Gold Dash, Kazuchika Okada, Tetsuya Naito. Number 3, AEW Full Gear, Young Bucks, FTR. Number 2, Wrestle Kingdom night number 1, Kazuchika Okada, Kota Ibushi. And finally, the match.
Wait. Don't reveal yet. Hold on, wait. Joe, do you know number 1 is?
No.
You couldn't guess it?
No.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead, Mike.
Number 1 from AEW Revolution. It is Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page versus Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks.
Yeah, they got number 1 correct.
I don't hate that. Yeah.
I don't think they got number 1 correct.
Well, I know you said number 5 was supposed to be number 1.
Yeah, just like you think that clusterfuck of Stadium Stampede should be ahead of anything from New Japan.
Not anything. I said maybe a spot or 2 up. That's all.
You think it's better than Hiromu Takahashi versus Will Ospreay?
I'll watch.
Do yourself a favor. No, you won't. Don't fucking lie to me. No, you won't. Don't fucking lie to me. You will not watch these matches. Your ass can't find fucking time to watch 3 weeks of fucking AEW Dynamite. Don't sell me the fact that you're gonna watch
now you see my pain now. Now you get it.
It's
Mike.
not pain. No, it's not pain because I can find time to watch it, which is the reason why I know that Hiromu Takahashi and Will Ospreay was better than fucking watching fucking half-ass the Elite take on fucking 35-pound overweight Chris Jericho in a match where both teams wore fucking jerseys to the fucking field. Like it was some fucking football game.
But do you agree that the Stampede does deserve top 10 billing?
If you were making a list of top 10 AEW matches for the year, maybe.
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
Maybe. But you got to remember, there's not a single Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton match on this list. They had a couple of really good ones.
I have a gripe.
There's no
gripe,
Edge Randy Orton on this.
No, I agree.
This list.
And by the way, I have a big gripe with this list here too. Where's Sasha and Bayley from Hell in a Cell?
Yeah, I agree. I was about to say that too.
Fuck.
I mean,
like I'll go so far as taking out Stadium Stampede to make that happen.
I mean, reality is that would be the match that would probably come out if anything was going to come out to put that on the list.
I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry. I watched that match. The number 3 match of FTR versus the Young Bucks in Full Gear. It never got into full gear.
It was a good match, but that's way too high.
Yeah, that's pretty high, but I love that match.
Is it top 10 worthy? Yeah, I'll give you that. But
I mean, I feel personally it should be like 6-ish.
Yeah,
like
I'm with you.
Like Dragunov and Walter should be ahead of it. Maybe Okada Naito should be ahead of it, but like,
how about
I
another?
can see it being in the top 5.
I can think of at least 2 or 3 NXT matches last year. I put in the top 10 ahead of some of these selections.
Yeah, I can see that.
A Keith Lee Dijakovic match. Any of the fucking 5 you've done
I mean,
in 2020?
The Keith Lee Adam Cole match for the NXT title.
That was a good one too. I love Finn Balor against Gargano back in February.
Him versus Kyle O'Reilly, where Kyle O'Reilly broke his jaw.
Right. I mean,
like give me that match.
NXT got fucked here, actually. If anything, NXT.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they got kind of fucked hard.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Anything else?
Loop. I just hated that I hated that list. It made me so angry. Real quick, then we can do whatever. U.S. Canada MVP, Jon Moxley. Japan MVP was Tetsuya Naito. Mexico's MVP was Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix was number 1. Pentagon was number 9. What the hell?
Can we also point out that Mexico's MVP, I saw this stat somewhere online, had a grand total of like 9 matches in Mexico last year.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
Can we quickly touch on Feud in the Year?
We'll get there. I'm going through the little MVP categories because there's not necessarily something we have to dive into.
Okay.
The Europe MVP was Walter.
Okay.
Non-heavyweight MVP was Hiromu Takahashi. I agree wholeheartedly. Women's MVP, obviously, it was Bayley. The only one that really fucking mattered.
Yeah.
Interesting note, 3-way tie for 10th included Britt Baker, Sarita Deeb, and Hana Kinemura. For those of you that remember, Hana was the one who took her life that was wrestling in Stardom.
Right.
So, nice fitting moment there. I want to touch on this one because I want to know who you guys would take and put in certain spots. Best box office draw. Number 1 was Conor McGregor. Number 2 was Jon Moxley. Number 3 was Chris Jericho. Number 4 was Tetsuya Naito. Number 5 was Roman Reigns. Number 6 was Kenny Omega. Number 7 was the Young Bucks. 8 was Khabib Nurmagomedov. Number 9 was Jorge Masvidal. And number 10 is Cody Rhodes. Obviously, take the UFC guys out is what I'm referencing. Take out Conor, Khabib, and Masvidal. Add three wrestlers into that list.
Okay.
Well, okay. Can I make an argument from the start here?
Absolutely. No. I was going to start.
But let me make an argument about this list in general, okay?
Oh, I'm listening.
I don't think anyone from the WWE belongs on this list in the year 2020 because there was no box office.
That's incorrect. There were box offices for Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber.
Right, but that's 2 right, but that's 2 months worth of shows. AEW actually did get to sell tickets at a certain point. AEW also sold pay-per-views, which WWE does not do. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, for the year 2020 in particular, it's hard to really argue anyone in WWE is a draw. And, I've heard people say that before, too. Like, I've heard, like, old-time wrestlers kind of say that about wrestlers today. How, like, nobody's drawing the house. Like, it's not like that anymore. The company draws the house. You know what I mean? Like, it's not quite.
For every AEW pay-per-view that they sold, congratulations to them. The wrestlers that are wrestling for WWE are getting people to pay $9.99 a month for a fucking streaming service, and half of the people that are paying for it are watching shit from 1985.
Right, but that's what I mean, though. If how are you crediting that? Are you being like, yo, Drew McIntyre had a great year because of all these WWE Network subscribers? Like,
are we saying that AEW? Are we saying that Cody Rhodes had a great year because he's the executive vice president and can book himself into whatever the fuck he wants, and they had 4 pay-per-views? They're not really blowing the fucking doors off the water by having 4 pay-per-views. Congratulations, you get to build for 3 months leading into a fucking show that you half-assed put together most of the time.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Any other year, and I think that AEW maybe doesn't even make an argument here. Maybe it's all WWE. I think for
No, we know that's a lie
2020,
because of the people that voted on this. We know that they were still going to be
yes,
on
right,
this list
correct. But I'm
heavily.
saying from my perspective, like me personally, I wouldn't put anyone WWE on this list because in my mind, they're not drawing. There's no such thing in WWE right now as drawing.
The only
WWE,
person I would put on the list is Drew.
even now, like I just wouldn't.
I mean, I would because he won the Rumble.
And that's great. And like, I think at the end of the year, if there had still been fans and stuff, I think he would have definitely been the number one person. But
no, they wouldn't have because they would have voted for somebody from AEW.
No, I'm saying like from my perspective.
Oh, okay.
Like I think I could have easily had him as like a number one person, but I just can't. I can't do that for WWE in 2020. There's no such thing as drawing in WWE in 2020, which is actually part of the reason why they've been willing to kind of give pushes to some people that they probably never would have otherwise. It's like all of a sudden you don't have to be afraid that like, Carmella is not going to quote unquote draw because there is no drawing.
You get the feud of the year real quick, because this thing's pissing me off.
Okay, number 10, Edge versus Randy Orton. Number 9 is The Elite versus The Inner Circle. Number 8 is Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns.
Wild card.
Yeah. Number 7, Adam Page and Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks. MJF versus Cody Rhodes. FTR versus the Young Bucks. Jon Moxley versus Chris Jericho. Adam Page versus Kenny Omega at 3. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is Cody Rhodes versus Brody Lee. And number 1 is Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston.
That should be number 1. It's a good feud, but should be number 1.
What?
It's exactly the shit I was complaining about before, though, where it's like, all right, like all of a sudden these two guys who have never appeared on camera together in any capacity and the entire time that they've been working in the same company, all of a sudden they've been best friends for the last 30 years. And like, this is his godchild and fucking this, that, and the other. Like, I get it, and it's a good way to try to tell a story, but like, it works when Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn do it because I've been watching them do it for the last like 10, 12 years. Their history is something that is completely and utterly established,
I'm going to say it again. Where the fuck is Sasha and Bayley?
Right, exactly. Guess what? They got to be a tag team for a while. Everyone knew that they were, the part of the 4 Horsewomen and shit like that. Like, them being really close wasn't randomly out of the blue so that, one of them could turn on the other. Like, was that always going to be what ended up happening? Yeah. But it made sense, and it didn't feel disingenuous, which I think sometimes, I enjoyed the Moxley-Kingston feud. I love how much it elevated Eddie. I'm a huge Eddie Kingston fan. You guys know that. But it didn't feel genuine the whole time, and that's my problem with it.
I do love that they put Brody and Cody. I do love that one. I mean, Brody's death obviously were robbed because this could have been the best feud of the year, honestly.
I mean, my fact of the matter is how the fuck is it the feud of the year if it had like 3 matches?
Yeah.
Which one?
I mean, the one that won the fucking feud of the year.
No. Right, but I'm talking about like Brody and Cody.
No, I mean that could have been up on the list. Yes, obviously. What I'm referencing is how is the feud of the year a feud that had like 3 matches? Because they cut good promos on each other. Cool story, bro. Don't care.
Right.
Where is Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre?
Hello.
I mean, it doesn't have to be number 1 or 2, but you mean to tell me that that it isn't a more prominent feud than the Elite versus the Inner Circle?
I mean, again, this is the anti-WWE fucking newsletter.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so obvious.
This is why we're having this conversation of dropping deuces on their fucking logic.
Right.
So what do we got left? Because I'm ready to not
We
talk
got a
about
lot.
people
We got a lot.
anymore?
I mean, we can just touch on some.
We're just gonna skim through some of these.
Can we
Bryan
wrap it
Danielson
up?
award
Can
for.
we do like maybe just one or two more and wrap it up?
There's some good ones here, though. I'll tell you that.
I'm gonna let you know the winner of the Bryan Danielson award was Zack Sabre Jr. For best technical wrestler.
And not Bryan Danielson.
He was second.
Real quick, you might appreciate this, Mike. Let me run this down real quick for Joe. He might appreciate this. Most overrated. Okay.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna go backwards.
I just stopped on that one.
Yeah, hold on. Number 9, Charlotte Flair. Number 8, we got a tie between Seth Rollins and The Miz. Number 7, Cody Rhodes. Okay, now it gets good. Number 6, Goldberg.
Okay.
Joe, rejoice. Number 5, Braun Strowman.
I mean, that's great.
Yeah. Number 4, Nia Jax. Number 3, I totally disagree with this one, King Corbin. Number 2, Evil. And number 1, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, I mean, again, considering this is from the perspective of people who are mostly not WWE fans, like, bleh.
Well, it does say most over pushed is what it says in quotations.
Push, right.
Most pushed. Well, what was Braun Strowman's push in 2020 besides winning the title at WrestleMania because Roman Reigns didn't want to wrestle? He didn't have that long.
That was about it.
He's just not liked.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But if you're saying that you're voting on it because they're the most like over pushed people, Braun Strowman wasn't pushed in 2020.
But you're also assuming
these stopgap because fucking Roman. No, if Dave sends out this voting thing and writes most over pushed, and he puts that on the thing, it's Dave's fault because Dave should literally be like, no, not because you don't like them, or no, not because they were champion for 3 fucking weeks. Like, who do you think got shoved down our throats too much? Cody did because he was a TNT champion and fucking wanted to tell everybody about it 385 times. Okay, that makes sense. Braun Strowman was a champion for what, like 3 weeks, and then he lost the fucking title.
Yeah, but his existence feels shoved down my throat.
And look, I'm not. We're assuming these voters are smart, as we have said in this podcast for the last hour. They're not smart.
Most overrated, most overpushed. Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks.
Yes. Tassels.
It's not about tassels.
I'm just not going to disagree with people shitting on Braun Strowman.
No, that's fine. Then say the winner of the first ever piece of shit human being award, Braun Strowman. Don't say most overpushed.
Mike Garvin's correct. What he's saying is correct. The underrated one, I know Mike will hate. Real quick.
Number one is what it is.
Yeah, Ricochet. They're not wrong though. He's being misused.
Yeah, so is the broom in my fucking house, but you don't hear me fucking pushing it.
Number 9's correct. Number 9 on this list should be a lot higher. This will be the last one, I promise.
But wait. All right, wait. What would you do with Ricochet that's like so much better than what they're doing now?
He should have been the leader of
Retribution. Scene.
He should have been the leader of Retribution.
Something.
So that
he should be or he should be in the Hurt Business. He should be Cedric Alexander.
Yeah. So something like that. Real quick, I saw this last one. So number 9, most underrated, most underpushed.
It's my topic, asshole.
Oh, well, I mean.
But okay, continue.
No, go ahead.
No. Finish this topic. I'm fucking picking one more after it, though.
Okay. Aleister Black, number 9. Number 8, Toa Hanair. Number 7, Rey Fenix. Number 6, Tomohiro Ishii. Number 5, Keith Lee. Number 4, we have a tie between Cesaro and Mustafa Ali, which I totally agree with that. Number 3, Riddle. I don't disagree with that, as was as evident by what happened last week. Number 2, Chad Gable. And number 1, Ricochet. Aleister Black definitely is too low.
Cesaro should be higher on that list.
Correct. Aleister Black.
Sure. And Tomohiro Ishii should be higher on the list.
Keith Lee's too high, actually, because he's being used and being pushed. I disagree with that.
I mean, he was kind of lost in the shuffle, basically, right after his debut.
But again, this is 2020, so, I mean.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. Here you go. The last topic that we're going to discuss, and I want Joe to pay attention for this one because I want to hear what Joe has to say about this. Best wrestling maneuvers.
Okay.
Wait, let me see. Okay, go ahead.
Number 10 is the Black Arrow by Pac. Number 8 is the Whirling Candy from Mizuki. I have no idea who the fuck that is, by the way. I'm just going to not fucking sugarcoat it. Number 8, the Pumping Bomb from Shingo Takagi.
Wait,
Number
what was?
7,
Wait. What was that guy's name and what was the move?
Mizuki, the Whirling Candy.
Okay. The whirling. I'm going on fucking
No,
YouTube.
it just says Whirling Candy, not the Whirling Candy.
Okay, so let's try. Wait, hold on.
No,
Let's see. Whirling Candy and wrestling. It actually comes up. This is the thing. Yuka Sasaki? Oh, Mizuki. It's a woman. She's a lady.
Are you on YouTube? It's a lady.
Oh, that's the girl who wrestles in AEW. Mizuki is the one that does it.
Oh, but this is like her whole match. I just want to see the fucking move.
You know what we could have done probably, Mike? We probably could have split this up into 2 parts.
No, we're not going to waste any more time. Fuck this.
We're not wasting
any more time talking about this anymore.
But it's some really interesting stuff here too, though.
Wait. So finish the moves. What's number 1?
Number 8 is the Pumping Bomb from Shingo. Number 7 is the Coffin Drop by Darby Allin. Number 6 is the Stormbreaker from Will Ospreay. Number 5 is a tie between the Paradigm Shift of Jon Moxley and the Hidden Blade of Will Ospreay. Number 4 is the Kamigoye of Kota Ibushi. Number 3 is the Buckshot V-Trigger from Adam Page and Kenny Omega. Number 2 is the Buckshot Lariat, and number 1 is the One-Winged Angel.
I agree with that one. Number 1. Number 1's amazing. So yeah.
You know what? Like me personally, I prefer Hangman Page's move. I think that he hits that, and it's the reason why he's a star.
Number 2.
But I will say this. The One-Winged Angel is probably the most protected move in pro wrestling.
It's definitely the most protected move in wrestling because there's been one fucking person that's kicked out of it, and his name is fucking Kazuchika Okada.
Exactly. So that's kind of interesting. Like, I can respect that being at number 1 because of that statistic. Because, like, honestly, when does that happen in pro wrestling ever anymore?
I'll take the Kamigoye.
True.
Kota Ibushi. I mean, I get it. Like, that move is the most protected move in the fucking world. But fucking, how many times did he hit it in 2020? Like 3?
Right.
Like, just because it's in his arsenal doesn't mean that is the best move of the year.
True. True.
If you tell me that fucking Kenny won more matches with the V Trigger than he did the One-Winged Angel, then why the fuck is the V Trigger not on here?
Right.
Adam Page won more matches with the Buckshot Lariat. I will put any amount of money you want to put on it that he won more money with the Buckshot Lariat than Kenny Omega won with One-Winged Angel in 2020.
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely agree with you.
And that's why I agree that Joe should say that. I agree with Joe. Adam Page's Buckshot Lariat should be the move of the year.
I'm also going to say this. Again, it's kind of like how I said earlier with the promos where it's like Kevin Owens, as long as he exists as a pro wrestler, every year belongs on that list somehow, unless, like, for some reason he hasn't cut promos in a year, becomes like Sting in 97. But the RKO, as long as Randy Orton is a pro wrestler and hitting that move, belongs on this list every year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Not at all.
It's timeless.
It really is. And he can literally hit it out of nowhere.
Yes.
But you also have to look at it. How the hell is the Claymore not on this list?
True.
True that. Absolutely true that.
That move is awesome.
It is.
I mean, but we have fucking Darby Allin throwing himself backwards off of a fucking top rope as like the number 7 move of the.
It does look good though. The cover top does look good though.
It does look really good, and I don't know if you've ever been hit by a broom, but that shit hurts.
Facts.
All right.
I wanted to tell Joe something, and then the one they did.
Ernest, close your ears. It's just between us.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Podcast recording.
He won't listen back to this part of the episode, and he sure as fuck won't watch it. But they do have a fucking worst match of the year thing, and number
Okay.
3 is Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara at All Out.
You know what? I can agree with that.
Yeah, I could too.
The only two
Also-
matches ahead of it were Goldberg versus The Fiend and Braun Strowman versus The Fiend.
I agree with those. So
Yes.
that list so much.
Yes. Yes.
Top 3 worst
Yo,
matches.
like
Oh,
the
shit.
300 people got that one right. You know, which is
But-
you know, even
you'll be mad
even
at
a
number
broken
5.
clock is
You'll-
right twice a day.
But you'll be super mad at number 5.
Why?
Bray Wyatt versus John Cena from WrestleMania 36.
You know what? I'm not mad at it because that wasn't for everybody. And like I said, you know, apparently part of everybody is not virgins in their mom's basement.
Somehow Brock Lesnar versus Ricochet from Super Showdown and Yato versus Toru Yano from New Japan Cup Night 1 finished. Below that.
All right.
All right.
So.
That
Okay.
was fun.
Okay.
That killed some time.
We spent some time. We spent a whole hour with this one segment. I love it.
See, but the thing is, when the topic starts flowing, you know, everybody
I love
starts
it.
waking up.
We can go on another 20 minutes, but I'm sure Joe will get pissed off. Okay. Let's do my topic real quick then, which is actually stolen from Mike, because Mike had promised to do this. Well, no, you promised to do this last 2 weeks, and you fucking underwhelmed both times because you got to swerve. So fuck it, I'm taking your topic.
I mean, I swerved because something else came up that was more important.
I'm not mad at that, especially this week. I love your topic this week, for the record. You know, we got a whole hour of content out of it.
Continue.
So anyway, as you people in the wrestling community, I'm sure know by now, if you listen to wrestling podcasts, one of the many wrestling podcasts, you obviously have Conrad Thompson and those podcasts he does with major whether it be former personalities or wrestlers due to wrestling parlance. Kurt Angle dropped his new podcast with Conrad Thompson in the last couple of weeks, and I know I speak for both guys on this podcast that it's been so far through 3 weeks, it's been terrific thus far. So, in stealing Mike's topic, because I'm going to do that, he wanted to know what other podcasts or of other personalities or former wrestlers, Hall of Famers, maybe, would you want to hear that we haven't heard yet in the future? And I'm pretty excited about this one. You want to go first, Joe?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So for me, I think that the hole that I feel like is missing, or the hole that needs to be filled in my podcast listening when it comes to pro wrestling nostalgia, which, if I'm being honest, for the most part, when I listen to wrestling podcasts, those are the ones I'm listening to. I'm listening to the Conrad podcast. Those are my go-tos. Occasionally a Jim Cornette podcast, but that's become a lot more rare because, honestly, like, we persevered. Trump is over. I don't need Jim Cornette anymore. So, it's the truth.
Funny.
But
no, you're right. You're totally right.
But so, I mostly listen to like the kind of nostalgia podcasts, which are really fun. They usually, they're kind of a payoff of being a wrestling fan for the last like 37 years. So I enjoy those a lot, and I do enjoy the Kurt Angle one. But the only company that isn't covered in any of this that, I feel extremely relevant, no pun, that I feel is extremely relevant to a lot of this conversation, because it's something that I grew up with personally. I can remember when I discovered it. I can remember the first time watching it, my favorite matches from it. And there's no podcast out there that's covering it the way, like, in the same way that you have like Bruce Pritchard covering WWE, or Jim Ross covering any number of different companies, and, Arn Anderson just answering questions every other week. You don't have an ECW show. And I think you need that. I would love to listen to that. I would love, 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 love to listen to that. So then I think the question just becomes, who would you have hosting that? Who would you have as your Jim Ross or whatever? And I mean, I think the options are pretty, in my mind, it's okay. So Obviously Joey Styles would be awesome. I don't think you can get him to do it. I don't think that he's interested in doing anything wrestling related anymore, which is a shame. Huh?
Why is that?
He left the business a while ago. After his last stint with WWE, he moved on from the business and seems really successful elsewhere. And, sometimes people just move on from it, So I don't know that you could get him to do even a podcast like that. If you could, I bet he'd be pretty much like the perfect person for it. If you're looking at people, though, who maybe are more realistic because they already do podcasts and stuff like that, obviously there's Bully Ray. Obviously there's Tommy Dreamer, who, from the standpoint of the business and actually being able to give a lot of behind the curtain stuff on each ECW show, Tommy Dreamer would be a really good candidate because he basically was Paul Heyman's right-hand man for a lot of the best years of ECW. So, he would have the stories,
Yeah.
He would have all of that insight and stuff. The only problem with that is he's probably my least favorite person in the list that I just named to actually listen to. I've heard him on Ed and Christian's podcast and stuff, and he's not my favorite person to listen to. No offense to him whatsoever. I think we even went to the same college, Iona. He's awesome, or his sister went there, whatever. But I think he's a great guy, and I think he could probably tell stories really well, and maybe he would be the right person for that for those reasons. But yeah, for me, more than anything else, maybe you can have Joel Gertner doing it or something, because he'd be entertaining, obviously, on a podcast.
So while you guys were discussing, I looked up Joey Styles, and when he left WWE in 2016, he actually wanted to keep going and become the voice of the Indies. And then he did something really stupid. Yeah. He did something really stupid and got himself fired.
Right, he made some really bad joke, right?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Before the main event of the show, Styles made a joke involving Donald Trump and ring announcer Joanna Rose, stating, "Trump would like to grab her by the..."
Right.
He never said the word. Gabe immediately apologized for the comment before announcing that Evolve had terminated Styles. 2 days later, Beyond Wrestling and Chikara both terminated and severed ties with Styles. After the incident, Styles retired from pro wrestling. So maybe that's the reason why Joey Styles went away.
I remember that. Yeah, no, he was canceled before cancel culture was a thing.
Yeah, so maybe that's why we don't see Joey Styles on podcasts.
I mean, don't call it a comeback.
I mean, a lot of money.
I don't think that will get listened to by many people because of that comment.
Yeah.
If you want an ECW podcast, I would say that Heyman or Dreamer or potentially even somebody crazy like Raven.
I thought about Raven.
But he would have to actually talk. He wouldn't be able to talk in riddles like he used to in his promos.
Right.
He'd actually be able does he have a podcast now, though, Raven?
He might.
I think he might.
Sure.
Well, he did.
For me, I have a multi-level answer because there's two different things I would want. Excuse me. Number one, I would want Daniel Bryan to do a podcast on his time specifically in Ring of Honor.
That's a good one.
And number two, I would love to have a podcast of Johnny Gargano's time from Dragon Gate USA through his Evolve title run before signing with WWE.
All right. I got a couple guys here that I wrote down. Some guys I'm kind of second guessing now. But this guy did have a podcast I just found out a couple of days ago. But apparently he had no time for it. And Bret Hart is somebody I would love to hear Conrad take under his wing and share stories of his time in the WWE, of course, with the Hart Foundation. Because Bret Hart is probably the most honest and most open and transparent people you're going to find here.
He would also probably have the most boring vanilla podcast in the fucking world.
I don't think he's vanilla. I don't think he's vanilla at all.
If he speaks on the podcast the way he used to cut promos, it's going to be the angriest sounding podcast.
No,
Gonna
but
sound like
if you hear his
he's
shoot interviews though, his shoot interviews though, like he's very honest, and we want to hear that. It's all about the storytelling at the end of the day. And that motherfucker after has stories for days. Hold on, what?
Is he honest, or is he telling his side of the story?
Hold on these notes.
No, I think he's pretty close to the truth, man. I mean, that dude fucking called out Hogan.
I'm sorry. If fucking Brett can't look up and go, oh, they made the right decision screwing me in Montreal, there's nothing he says that is I will take as 100% fact, because they did the right fucking thing. Because if he takes that title and shows up to fucking Monday Night Raw or Nitro the next night, his fucking WWE's dead. So at the end of the day, fucking Vince did the right thing. Brett screwed Brett. Let's be fucking real here.
I don't agree with you on that.
Wait. Here's a podcast idea. Okay? Goldberg and Lance Storm, and they watch really good Japanese pro wrestling, and Lance Storm explains to Goldberg why he sucks.
I could actually get behind that, because I can just see Lance Storm go. I can see Lance Storm go. If I can be serious for a minute, that's a drop toe hold, Bill. You should really do one of those. It'll expand your arsenal.
And you know Goldberg would just be sitting there being like, okay,
but can I get pyro with it?
Right?
No, Bill, you can't get fucking pyro.
I would love to hear a Jake Roberts podcast. Stories in and out the ring, fucking almost dying so many times.
I feel like I would like to watch a Jake Roberts documentary. I don't know that I need a weekly Jake Roberts podcast.
Why is that?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Joe on that one.
Because that feels like it would be depressing after a while.
Well,
it's like,
Jake, you have to
tell us about
it.
WrestleMania 4. Well, I was throwing up in the bathroom that night. That's about all I remember. Okay, great.
Okay, so the way I look at it is
Kurt
being the basis behind me wanting to bring this topic to the forefront. Kurt is the first one that I feel that Conrad's going to peel back a layer in his arsenal that we've not heard yet.
He already is in some of the episodes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But Kurt's eventually going to have to open up about his drug usage and stuff that. And he's going to have an episode where he jumps down the rabbit hole. And like, you're going to get that. And you don't get that with Bischoff because they don't talk about Bischoff. You don't get that with Pritchard because they don't talk about Pritchard. And same with JR and Shivani. They talk about the wrestling and what the wrestlers were doing and, stories about the wrestlers. And, oh, yeah, I saw this guy doing a line of cocaine and going having a 5-star match in the Tokyo Dome. Like that's what they're talking about. Kurt's going to look up and be like, I'm the guy who fucking did the cocaine and then fucking took some painkillers and then fucking went out and fucking dropped Jeff Hardy on his head 3 times and made him do fucking pills, and me and him fucking tripped out on mushrooms as we fucking flew home.
Right.
You're going to get that. Like, and I feel like that's like, Jake will give you those stories, but I don't need a 80-week podcast of him saying the same story about him getting fucked up, because you'd have to just insert day here.
Right.
That's a fair point, actually. No, yeah, I didn't consider
that
part.
If you look at it and you go, oh, I'm gonna do one, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, give me one with like really random. Give me the $1 Million Man.
Well, that's funny you said that, because that's the next guy on my list.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase. And one story we find out I would like to hear is what was the option to WrestleMania 4? Because a lot of rumors for a little while was that it was possible that he could have been the guy that won the title WrestleMania 4. Not Macho, but something with Honky and holding up the belt at Sunday Night Main Event the year before that and all that. I had to hear that story. So DiBiase was on my list also too.
So wait, okay, another podcast idea. Virgil, but he tells stories where he's put into historic events that he wasn't actually a part of.
God, Virgil, Soul Train Jones.
Yeah, so it's like Virgil, tell us about that time you stole the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, God, fucking Joe.
I'm gonna let you finish your list, Ernest, but then I have an idea.
I got one more.
Okay, yeah, after yours, I have an idea actually based on something Mike said, like a serious one. So.
My last one, as you know, I've been critical of this guy for years. Obviously, call him the most overrated wrestler, one of the most overrated wrestlers. But I love his opinions on things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the same vein of like Conrad interviewing him, but I like listening to Kevin Nash. It's a great follow on Twitter. It's a great follow on Twitter. I love him on Instagram. He's lots of opinions, and I don't even mind him deviating from pro wrestling either to other things.
Yeah, so
he's a guy that I feel would go down the Bret Hart rabbit hole where it's like, is that true or is that what Kevin's telling us that we want to hear?
Right. I'm gonna say this. I feel like if Kevin Nash had a podcast in general, I would listen.
Right.
Even if it was just him fucking shooting the shit with some of his friends, talking about music that he likes, talking about some movie he just saw, like whatever.
Yeah, whatever the episode brings.
Well, that's what I mean.
I would listen to that.
That's what I mean.
But
I don't think he would do great in a structure of Conrad, but in terms of this,
right? I don't want to hear Kevin Nash discuss pro wrestling. I want to hear Kevin Nash talk about pro wrestling about as much as I want to see Kevin Nash perform pro wrestling, which is not very much.
Yes, I love hearing his political, topics, and love talking about sports once in a while on there too. So like, yeah,
because he's a cool dude. Like he's got that like laid back cool. Like I would listen to the Kevin Nash show. I would prefer he did talk nothing about pro wrestling on that show.
Yeah. Totally agree with you. We're on the same wavelength there. Okay, well,
all right, Joe, what's your serious topic?
So when you were saying your whole thing about Bryan Danielson and like doing a podcast specifically about his ROH years, one podcast I actually think would be really interesting that probably would be very doable, especially with where a lot of these guys are now, would be kind of like almost like a retrospective of that decade or like 15-year period of the indie scene, where the indie scene was booming here in America in a way that it never was before. Like, yeah, ECW was an independent company, but name me 5 other independent companies that existed at the same time as ECW. Most people can't, they weren't that popular. You get into like the mid-2000s, the indie scene was booming. And I know, Mike, you know this definitely. Ernest, congratulations, you're being educated. But, there were tons of indie companies that were doing really great business. And the crazy thing is, most of the guys that were the stars of those companies are now your guys that are on WWE or AEW and stuff. I'm literally watching SmackDown from this past week right now. I'm watching Cesaro do the fucking spinning thing to Seth Rollins, a.k.a. Claudio Castagnoli, a.k.a. Tyler Black. These are these kinds of guys. Like, you could have a whole series where you're interviewing different guys every episode who were on the indie scene from that time. I feel like Xavier Woods would be a really good host for this series. But that would be interesting to me.
Perfect host for that because here you go. Line up this crew of this murderer's row. Okay, right. For those of you that don't know, Xavier with his up, down, down. I watch his Wednesday show every week. It's him, Claudio, Adam Cole, and Tyler Breeze playing Uno. It is the funniest fucking thing in the world.
Oh my god.
Joe, you have to watch it one week with me just so that you can fucking see the humor that the 4 of these guys have. They are fucking gold together. I love that. I've seen
clips before of that actually.
I feel like I saw a clip on Reddit the other day. It was like they were performing, I want to say like a Boyz II Men song or something.
So what it is the winner of they play the first person to win 3. Whoever wins gets to pick whoever has to sing an entrance song.
Oh God!
From WWE.
Yeah.
So one of them this week, I believe it was Claudio, picked Tyler Breeze to sing Kung Fu Naki's theme song.
It's on YouTube, right?
Yes, it's fucking hilarious. I'll send you guys the link whenever when we're done on the air. But Xavier Woods leading up, and every week, one week he gets AJ, the next week he gets Claudio, the next week he gets Seth, the next week he gets Brian again. The next week he could get Joe. The next week he could get Nigel.
Right. And you've named at this point basically every big name from the scene from that time period.
Let's not forget he could then go to NXT and talk to Kyle and Adam and Roddy,
Johnny.
Fish, Johnny.
You got Gabe there, for Christ's sake.
I mean, the reality of this, he could then have a conversation with Keith Lee, because Keith Lee was technically involved there for a while.
Yeah, he was.
He could literally go through the Murderer's Row and not have the same guest twice for probably 3 months, 4 months. He could probably put up 16, 17 episodes before having a repeat guest.
Yeah.
And that's just, AJ, let's talk about your 2003. Let's talk about you in Impact for a little while. You're in ROH for a while. You're in this. Like, let's talk about AJ Styles 2003.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, I was in the 2003 Battle of Los Angeles with these 16 guys. You may have heard of them because 12 of them are on our roster.
Right. And 6 of them were in the Elimination Chamber last week.
Exactly. You know, oh, let's not forget, he could have Sammy and KO on that too with Steven and Generico.
Right.
I mean, literally, the entire SmackDown roster minus Jey Uso and Roman Reigns.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Rey Mysterio, I think, even may have had a Ring of Honor appearance once. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, who knows?
The only person we know that didn't was fucking Dominic Mysterio because, you know, that guy sucks.
That's
pretty much.
That's Joe's boy.
No, I'm good.
I know. All right, guys, let's bring it home for the last topic of the day.
Joe, are you still watching SmackDown?
Yeah, it's that commercial, but yeah.
Have you gotten to the Otis and Gable versus Dominic in the rematch
yet? I saw that. Yeah. Yo, but you know what?
Heel Otis is so much more believable than stupid fucking Otis.
I was about to say the same
he's a heel
thing.
now. He's a heel. Okay.
Yeah, him and Chad Gable as a little heel team kind of works.
Yes, it does. The Alpha Academy, it works perfect for that.
I'm a fan.
And heel Otis is so much better than face Otis. Like, yes,
For
I
real.
love fucking the oh yeah and the fucking caterpillar and all that shit, but like that Otis is like a believable guy that like, oh, you just got your ass kicked by a guy who could probably kick your ass.
Otis,
right.
I gotta watch SmackDown tonight. I gotta watch SmackDown later on. Okay. This is the final topic of the day. Joe, bring it home.
Sure. This will be easy. I caught the APA documentary on WWE Network the other day. I don't know why. I turned it on. I think I was going to watch something, and it was like, oh, look, that's on. So I put that on. It was fantastic.
Oh, it
was one of the
Above
better
average.
documentaries that they've done in a while. And they do some great documentaries. I'm going to give them credit. But this one was absolutely fantastic, really entertaining. And, you know, it kind of got me thinking about the APA, which got me thinking about Ron Simmons, which got me thinking about Doom. Because obviously in the 80s, in the Jim Crockett promotion, Doom was a pretty big deal, you know? Him and Butch Reed recently no longer with us. I almost said recently departed, which would have been accurate, but still weird. Anyway, so Doom was kind of a big deal, obviously, in the 80s. And the funny part is, Ron Simmons is this guy. I feel like he doesn't get as much credit for how big of a star he actually is. He's this guy who, in the middle of his career, was the world champion, the first ever African-American world heavyweight champion, and then also still managed to be part of 2 Hall of Fame worthy tag teams in Doom and the APA. That is impressive. That is beyond impressive. Let's not even mentioning his Nation of Domination stuff or the time he wore that fucking like silver tinfoil hat thing. Anyway, my question to you guys is, and it's the ultimate question really, it's an important one. The battle of the Ron Simmons tag teams, who you got? Doom or the APA?
Ernest.
Well, this is easy for me. Like I know of Doom, and I saw Doom a little bit. You know, they were a tag team from '89 to '91 in WCW. And I mean, you know,
I've heard of them. These were they won 537 matches.
Yeah, like I wasn't, like I said, I skate like.
I wasn't the biggest fan, but I know all their statistics.
No, what I'm saying is that I didn't religiously watch WCW back in the day. Like before Hogan got there, but I knew like when Steve-O went back there and Mark Flair and all that. So the answer here is easy for me. It's easy. And in fact, it's so easy that it brings up another question, you know, because the APA sometimes, because again, Attitude Era, overrated. I try not to focus on it too much, but the APA I mean, I don't know where you guys have them all-time tag teams. Like, you can make a case for them being top 5 all time.
Wrong.
Top 10.
No.
Probably not.
So I think part of it though, and this is something I was thinking about when I was analyzing this all-important question. It's the competition that they had at the time. Like, honestly, Doom was out there wrestling against the Steiner brothers. They were out there wrestling, against who are the other teams
Awful
that were?
Animal.
Wait.
Right, the Legion of Doom.
But
right.
Isn't the competition help their case?
Well, that's what I'm saying, though.
Well, no. If you're saying that, they wrestled in the era of the Hardy Boys, of the Dudley Boys, of Edge and Christian. I mean,
right, okay,
teams that we consider.
So name me any classic APA match from a period. Give me a 5-star, or not even. That's crazy. Give me a 3.5-star APA match.
I can't even give you a 2-star Demolition match, and yet they're looked at the top 10 tag team all time.
Well, no, if you can't give me a 2-star Demolition match, you're not even trying that hard.
They aren't that great, though. So I'm saying my point in the ring, but there's just
they
the way
had some good matches with the Hart Foundation. Now wait a second.
No, right. Which you can credit more to the Hart Foundation than Demolition. Let's be clear about that. Okay.
Yes, but I'm saying, like, I could sit here and name for you a Demolition match, even just one. Name me one APA match, period.
To me, if we're looking at it solely on just the in-ring work, I can see what you're coming from. But the whole APA gimmick is what probably made the whole packaging of APA is what made them stand out even more.
What year would you consider yourself to have been the biggest fan of pro wrestling?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Honestly, I would say probably from 1988 to 1991.
During the Attitude Era. Like, what year during the Attitude Era?
Late 98 into into early 2001.
Okay. During that entire period, name one APA match on one pay-per-view.
I can't. I gotta think about that.
And that says something.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying. I get it.
The gimmick was fantastic. The gimmick was absolutely incredible, and honestly is a highlight in the career of both men for a reason. It was absolutely awesome. But they weren't out there having.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Joe. Let me ask you this. So if I told you,
I can name an APA match.
Okay.
Fully loaded 1999 Hardy Boys and Michael Hayes versus the Acolytes for the tag titles.
Oh my God.
Could I? Okay. Forget. Let's talk rules. Let's talk solely WWE. Okay, solely WWE historically speaking. Okay. All the great tag teams have come and gone through the years. You name it. Where do you put APA? Is APA a top 10 team? No?
I think they're a top 30 team.
Wow, that feels low. I don't know why. It feels low.
Like, maybe
in
even
WWE history?
Huh?
In WWE history?
Yeah.
I could probably see him getting in the top 20.
Okay.
I could see them at like a 21, 22, which is why I say like top 25.
Because I feel like you have to trim a lot of fat. Like, you're not like Legion of Doom. If you look at their overall like course of like their career, yeah, but their WWE run, like they were there for like 3 years. I don't know if you could put them ahead of the APA.
Right. Although APA lasted what, 4 years maybe?
Well, as the Acolytes before that, so I mean, they were really together for, I think, a little bit longer than anyone thinks.
Right.
Like, I feel like you'd have to like really sit down and digest the team. Like, no, I'm not putting them ahead of the New Age Outlaws. No, I'm not putting them ahead of the Dudleys or the Hardys or Edge and Christian.
This might call for a tag team bracket challenge in March. What do you think, Michael?
Start sending me some nominees.
I will do that, and that'll be on March Madness.
Let's see. We're going to do 64. We're going to do 32.
32 is fine. Just trim the fat. As you said, trim the fat.
Yeah.
Okay. So then do
Copycat, the
everybody gets 10 nominees, and then we'll do 2 play-in games the week before between each of us.
You're that guy now.
Each of us. No, here you go. Each of us do 11, and rank them 1 through 11, and the 11 of ours, 2 of them will advance, 1 of them will get eliminated.
Okay.
To make the field of 32.
That's fun. We do brackets. We like doing bracket challenge on the Take 3 Wrestling podcast.
Yeah, but we had to give it a break after the Intercontinental wins because that one took fucking forever.
No, that's fine. No, and it's good. And it's good content also too. And you know.
But you know what? Okay, wait.
Wait. What?
Back to the topic at hand, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My selection, solely based off of the fact that Teddy Long wore really awesome do-rags whenever he was their manager, it's Doom.
Now, wait a second, player. That's a good reason.
Was Woman part of Doom also?
Yes.
I
believe she was.
Yeah.
So personally, I love Farouk and Bradshaw as a tag team in the Attitude Era. But Doom was just such a game changer in early WCW tag team division. Like, yeah, they were out there wrestling the Steiners, and they had matches with the Legion of Doom and stuff like that. But they were just such a game changing tag team. To see 2 guys that size move with as much finesse as they did, it was a real game changer for tag team wrestling on a whole, but more specifically WCW's tag team division. And I feel like it gave them like a step ahead. Like, oh, you're running out guys in face paints. I'm running out guys who could play in the NFL on Sundays.
Right.
Yeah, good point.
And you know, honestly, too, let's be 100% crystal clear here, right? In that entire era of pro wrestling, so we're talking about like late 80s.
Well, 89, 91 is when they.
Right.
Right.
So, okay, think about that era. Think about all the really popular, all really big, really successful tag teams. How many of them were African American?
Not many.
Harlem Heat came way after that, right?
Harlem Heat came way after. Doom was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Rocky Johnson and like Soul Train, Tony Atlas, or like
right.
The 3 of them.
My buddy got the
Tony Garea.
But I'm saying it was like those guys were like the ones that were.
No, there were no black tag teams at all. No.
Like Doom were actually very cutting edge for their time.
Yeah.
And
they lost
and look,
the fact is, Fabulous Freebirds.
And look, the fact is, at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt. I mean, look, Ron Simmons and Butch Reed, also both great wrestlers. You will not get me to say otherwise. Both of them, great wrestlers. So that helped to begin with. But it certainly doesn't hurt that you're then in the ring wrestling Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner in their primes. You're out there wrestling Hawk and Animal in their primes. You're out there with Sting. You're out there with the Great Muta. Like, they were there at the perfect time. Like, for me personally, again, and I'm like you, Ernest, I didn't watch a lot of WCW growing up. I didn't watch a lot of NWA. I lived in New York City. WWF was our thing, 100%. So, I mean, right, you were like conceived in Brooklyn, right, or some shit? Anyway.
Correct.
So, WWF was our thing. But I remember when my mom, okay, story time. So my mom was pregnant with my brother, and she was about to have to give birth. And I'm 9 years old at this time, okay? And she's about to give birth, and I get the chicken pox. And obviously I can't be around my mom because she's literally due like any second. So I have to go stay by my grandparents' house. And I'm also not in school now for like a couple of weeks because chicken pox. So my grandmother takes me to the local video store every day because she doesn't have cable, and she's got to entertain a 9-year-old. So she takes me to the video store every day, and what do they have? They have NWA pay-per-views. They have stuff that I've never seen before because I don't watch that because I watch WWF, and that's it. And I've seen all the WWF stuff. So there I am trying to figure out a way to entertain myself because I'm a 9-year-old, and, my grandmother's like, rent whatever the hell you want. So I get to rent like Starrcade 89, Starrcade 90, and all of that. And even though I've never seen these teams before, like, honestly, the tag team tournament at one of those Starrcades that Doom was in, and the Steiners and the Road Warriors, fantastic. That has stayed with me since I was 9 years old. That is lasting power. I can also, like you, not name a single APA match during the entirety of the time that they were really popular.
So,
Fair point.
Doom used to wrestle under masks. At Clash of the
Yes.
Champions 10, they lost their masks to the Steiner's brothers. They then lost another tag match via DQ to the Steiner brothers. They won the titles from the Steiners at Capital Combat 1990. They then had house show matches against the Rock and Roll Express, the Steiner
Wow.
brothers, a makeshift team of Scott Steiner and Robert Gibson. They then defeated the Steiners to retain their titles. And I'm just trying to find matches that they had at like pay-per-views. The Rock and Roll Express, Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton, 15 minutes. Fucking APA had a 9-minute match with Michael P.S. Hayes and the Hardy Boys at a pay-per-view.
Right.
They
Like,
end up
pulling
the titles for like a long time.
I will give it to the APA as characters. They were the better team character-wise. But I
Correct.
think overall, I kind of think Doom actually has the bigger lasting impression on pro wrestling.
Starrcade 1990, a NWA World Tag Title Street Fight. Doom versus the Four Horsemen team of Arn Anderson and Barry Windham.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. Might be time to open the vault.
I've been thinking about trying to watch all the old Clash of the Champions.
Clash of the Champions 14, Dixie Dynamite, Lex Luger and Sting versus Doom.
Oh, no spoilers on who wins that.
I won't. I will say that the title change for Doom was pretty much like the end of Doom. They lost to the Fabulous Freebirds at Wrestle War 1991.
And then broke up.
And then they had a WCW World Tag Title match after, which I guess was a pre-tape against Sawyer and Faulkner. Then they wrestled against Big Van Vader and Crusher Bam Bam Bigelow at New Japan WCW Starrcade 91 in the Tokyo Dome. And then that was it for them.
Wow.
And then Simmons wins the title the day after that against Vader. So.
Oh my God! Listen to this Starrcade 91 card. Holy shit! Jushin Thunder Liger versus Akira for the junior heavyweight title. Anderson and Wyndham versus Masahiro Chono and Masa Saito. The Steiner brothers versus Hase and Suzuki for the IWGP tag titles. The Greatest 18 Club, no disqualification, no referee, no countout match, which was Ricky Shoshi versus Tiger Jeet Singh. And then an IWGP NWA winner-take-all match between Tetsuya Fujinami and Ric Flair.
Think about making that Doom Steiner Brothers match a watch-along match in the future.
I'm down.
Like that. All right, if we get going, MVPs.
Hold on, Joe. Did you have another idea for the tag tournament that you were going to say before we got back on the topic? Or...
Oh, right.
No, I changed my mind.
All right, cool. Okay. We'll talk about that off air.
MVP. Joe, want to go first?
No, I don't.
All right, my MVP is a guy. I'm giving him the MVP because he's going to go away for a little while, and it's unfortunate. My MVP this week is Hiromu Takahashi, the now former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. Destroyed his shoulder basically in a tag match at Castle Attack. For those of you that don't know, Hiromu was out for a long time after a freak injury, screwed his neck up on a U.S. part of a tour. Came back and really hasn't missed a beat since he's been back. And it sucks because I really like Hiromu. I think he's one of the best juniors in the world. And it sucks that he's going to go away for a little while, but hopefully he's going to go away, get himself healed, and be back ready to go. Hopefully a little less than the 6 months that they think he's going to be out. But I mean, with stuff like that, I mean, I don't think that there's a way that he's going to be able to get back any sooner.
Right. My MVP is actually going to be Paul White, a.k.a. The Big Show, a.k.a. The Giant, who announced this week will be part of AEW, doing some commentary and I heard also he'll be doing some in-ring work as well too. So Paul White
Man,
is
I
my
can't.
MVP.
I can't wait for that Big Show Shaq match.
We get like a Jericho reunion.
Real quick, guys, do you like this move for EW? I kind of like it.
I don't dislike it, but I'm also like, okay, so it's funny. This is something I was talking about with Mike the other day when it came up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big Show is only like 48 years old.
49.
And has actually arguably gotten better every year as his career has gone on, which is kind of surprising. And he looked pretty good
As
in the
long as
ring.
he was healthy. As long as he was healthy. Now, he worked through some injuries that made him look really bad, and I chalked those up to the injuries. I didn't want to step away from.
No, you're absolutely right. But the thing is, like, so like, on the one hand, it's kind of like, okay, cool. He's still got something to offer. I mean, he's only 48 years old. He's, was looking pretty good the last time he was in the ring. He's probably still got something to offer. On the other hand, he has literally been wrestling since like 1995. Do I need to see someone for 30 something years on television? Or is there a certain point where it's like, okay, it's time to move on a little bit? The one nice thing though is he has at least moved on to, a new background, At least we won't see him wrestling Randy Orton again.
Right.
I mean, I like I said, I can't wait for that Shaq versus Big Show match that they were trying to get at WrestleMania. That they're going to give us on
a double or nothing.
March 37th Dynamite show because Cody's got to be in a ladder match or something, or Shaq's got to be in like a contract signing for a random shoe deal. I don't know, whatever.
Oh my god! All right, so my MVP this week is none other than the almighty Bobby Lashley.
My man, Bob.
If you watched Raw this week, and I did, the show pretty much was the Bobby Lashley show. They are putting a lot behind this man, and I'm all for it. I am living for it. This is the best that Lashley has ever looked in WWE, possibly the best he's ever looked in his career. I am ready for main event Bobby Lashley.
Hell yeah,
do it.
Let's go.
I mean, I told Joe I thought he should have been McIntyre last year. I thought it was the Bobby Lashley. It should have been the Bobby Lashley show, leading to Lashley taking the title from Brock, because I thought he was the one that made the most sense. And I thought that ever since they brought him back. And then, they finally looks like they're going to pull the trigger and give him at least the main event feud, if not the title. So if they don't give him the title, I mean, I get it, but let's keep him in the main event picture for as long as we can.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Anyway, guys, plug your other show before we get going.
The Name Subject Change podcast. We finally got the SummerSlam episode done and recorded. So that's up.
2003.
Currently trying to get through Unforgiven. It's not good.
Yeah.
There are some of these matches that it's literally like drinking Robitussin to try to get through these things. That's where we're at now. Unforgiven, we'll hopefully record sometime later this week, get that done, and then get on to doing the spin the wheel, make the deal for what year we're gonna watch next. And hopefully we get out of fucking this fucking WWE run, because I'm ready to move on to something more entertaining.
Yeah, for real.
Get out of ruthless aggression for a little bit.
Oh no! The thing is me and Joe made the deal. 2000 to 2010 will not be on the wheel, so we're guaranteed to get a different time period. The way we're going to do is we're not going to just so that we don't have to go back and watch like 2002 after watching 2003. So it's like we're going to do it where it's a little bit more fun. Like, okay, we watch something from the 90s or the 80s or the maybe 2010s. Like just to give us something different, so it's not like all the same stuff, but in like some weird order. So what we're gonna do is next week's show, or whenever we get the Unforgiven show up, we're gonna spin the wheel. That'll give us the time frame, and then the following show will be the the year that we pick the year on the wheel that we're going to watch next.
Wow. Good idea. I like that.
It just keeps everybody coming back for more.
All right, fellas. Of course, my podcast, Wrestling Podcast. You can check it out on any podcast catcher. Joe, Mike, it's fun as always. Easily the longest podcast recorded in our year and a half of doing this show. And we'll talk next week.
Sounds good.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.